where does that leave Netanyahu himself, Fleur Hassan? Because there's a sense that Mr. Netanyahu now is looking for his political survival as well, given the huge security lapse that resulted in this terrible, barbaric Hamas attack. So when a leader is looking at political survival, he can sometimes take the wrong decisions.
Well, all I can tell you is that we're so busy dealing with this war, with the displaced people, with the traumatized children, with the sick people in hospitals, injured, that I think that in Israel, after the unity government, there's now a feeling that we'll deal with all that when this nightmare is over, and whoever needs to be investigated, whoever needs to be in front of some type of inquiry will do so after the war is over. We do not have the bandwidth to deal with that right now.
But a ground offensive, is that inevitable according to you? Or if the hostages are released safely, there is still a possibility of a de-escalation? If the Hamas tomorrow was to release all the hostages, is there any possibility then of a de-escalation?
Well, again, like I said earlier, I think that Israel now has actually realized that they can no longer, that the Hamas regime in Gaza is no longer viable for us to live next to.
Given those words that you're hearing, Irfan, are we further away, therefore, for any possible early end to the conflict? That we are looking, therefore, at a prolonged conflict?
Well, I think if the Deputy Mayor's sentiment encapsulates what is the general sentiment, then yeah, we're in for a very long and ugly few months, right? A version of the world in which Hamas rule in the Gaza Strip is seen as being the red line. You simply cannot have that. It can only end in one way, and that is the complete removal of the Hamas leadership, either through targeted strikes or, of course, going in. We know that Hamas has used its time and power to build an incredible network of underground tunnels and bunkers. They are using their own citizens as human shields, in effect, right? It's a very densely populated plot of land. So if it is really that the only way this ends is with Hamas fully out of power and fully decapitated effectively, the only
But
way
every Palestinian, with due regard, Irfan, every Palestinian is not Hamas. And the tragedy is that there are innocent people who have nothing to do with Hamas who are going to lose their lives then, if we are talking about prolonged conflict.
And that is exactly right. I mean, so the challenge over here is, in fact, that because of the nature of the politics in the Gaza Strip and because of the nature of the urban density of that region, any action Israel takes has to walk the line between collective punishment of a population that is, as the Deputy Mayor, I think very charitably said, is also being held hostage effectively by the Hamas leadership and targeting the Hamas leadership itself. So it's a lose-lose in that the only way to get rid of Hamas is to sort of deal with the Gaza Strip, and then a lot of innocent lives are lost. But to leave them in place might be seen as unacceptable. I would like to believe that there is a compromise in there, and over the next couple of weeks, the politics is the art of possible, right? So what are the negotiations and conversations happening behind the scenes that might allow for some way for Israel to save face, to feel like they've defended their territorial integrity, defended their people, and also defanging and really sort of, crippling Hamas's ability to continue to lead. But whether that can be done, Rajdeep, requires a lot of other regional actors to step up and sort of take responsibility for saying it's partly our job to help de-escalate this. The Turkish Prime Minister made comments just yesterday in Parliament that are not helpful in this situation, essentially legitimizing and defending Turkey. But, where does India stand in this situation? What can we be doing? Why is this all falling on Doha and Qatar to try and be the back channel? So we need other actors to step up and help find a way to make this hopefully end in a way that minimizes the loss of innocent life.
One final word from you, Fleur Hassan-Nahoum. Is there a recognition within Israel that not every Palestinian is Hamas? And the belief that and they've got to recognize that and make that distinction much more sharply to ensure that Palestinians do not end up becoming even more angry and outraged with what they feel has been an open prison. That's their view, that Gaza has been an open prison. They've been treated as second-class citizens and dehumanized for much too long.
I don't understand where that comes from. It's obviously the brainwashing of Hamas, because like I said, we left in 2005. we are not occupying the Gaza Strip. Now, the fact that Fatah originally took power and then Hamas took power from Fatah and ended up killing half of the people of Fatah in the Gaza Strip, I don't think can also be blamed on Israel. It seems that everything that the leaders over there don't want to take responsibility for, it's just much simpler to blame Israel. We left in the hope that they would develop something. They could have developed Dubai, and they developed Beirut because, of course, they picked the genocidal partners that we have in the region. And so, the constant brainwashing that goes on there, the constant teaching of hatred that goes on there is a big part of the story. And the whole world is responsible for really helping fund an educational system through the UN that is teaching this hatred. But putting that aside, Gaza at the moment is unfortunately a very intricate web of military terrorism infrastructure that has been weaved into the civilian population, like the professor says, in order to make them into human shields. And it's a very, very difficult thing. And even with that, Israel warned the north of Gaza to move so that they could get rid of the infrastructure there. We are constantly looking to minimize civilian loss. That is not our objective, as opposed to their objective, which is only civilian loss. They're cowards. They don't want to fight our soldiers. What they want to do is kill babies. And so, unfortunately, in every conflict, in every war, there are innocent, killed, and injured. That is not our objective. We will do the maximum we can do. We're already doing the maximum that we can do. And, even when you look at this war as a civilizational clash, which I believe it is, because it's really Iran using their proxies against the free world, and you look at the Second World War as an example, there's a lot of German innocent lives that were also lost in order for the Allies to win and for the world to look the way that it looks today, rather than under a Nazi occupation and regime. And so we have to see this on a little bit of a wider lens and pray for the least possible casualties that we can on all sides.
Fleur Hassan-Nahoum, Deputy Mayor Jerusalem, Irfan Nuruddin joining us there from Washington, D.C. Appreciate getting your perspectives, insightful perspectives here tonight. Thank you so much.
India's #1 political reporter.
Defines what seems to be happening, vendetta politics. कोई दूध के से धुला हुआ नहीं है.
Unmatched eye, unmatched experience.
The world has changed. My black hair has become grey as well.
And with unmatched passion for the story.
Do not monopolize the conversation.
When it's 100% news that matters. It's News Today with Rajdeep Sardesai. Monday to Friday, 9 p.m. Only on India Today TV. India's #1 political reporter.
Defines what seems to be happening, vendetta politics. कोई दूध के से धुला हुआ नहीं है.
Unmatched eye, unmatched experience.
The world has changed. My black hair has become grey as well.
And with unmatched passion for the story.
Do not monopolize the conversation.
When it's 100% news that matters. It's News Today with Rajdeep Sardesai. Monday to Friday, 9 p.m. Only on India Today TV.